need it. Lend a helping hand when it's wanted. You should help your neighbor who is falling. You will get your blessing when you rise.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Demekewega motora reke masiakwa todora banini mudu mukono gamu ageni no kivya gwito moko magari tukejigwete nadoigana kodora ihoya leakwa kigarani ukiara bani de boetoku niwega Oh my goodness, guys. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I am so psyched right now. Oh my god. I'm just over here. I'm over here jamming to some music, as in what I woke up feeling amazing today. The skies are blue, the weather feels great, as in what hey. So I was like, you know what, let me just come on and do a video today, because I've been meaning to do a video, by the way, from Monday. Actually, I've been saying I'm going to do a video, but man, oh my god, guys, hold on, let me first put that on hold. Yeah, as in I've been having major issues with the Wi-Fi, guy, as in guy wa Wi-Fi. The god of Wi-Fi has decided me and my Wi-Fi, we are just, as in Wi-Fi is muriferaning my phone right now. Well, hey, it's been a challenge. Yani, technical difficulties have been the reason behind me not doing the video. But man, and anyway, all in all, I had a fantastic weekend. This past weekend, by the way, was so random. As in, I just kept finding myself in random places, and I kept coming across people who I have not seen in a while. Wow, it was such a nostalgic moment for me. As in, man, hey, was it from Friday? Yeah, from Friday, I've just been, going places and randomly coming across people. Like once on Saturday, I went to buy food at a Kenyan owned restaurant or club, and surprise, there was a surprise birthday party that was going on. So I ended up being part of the guests when really I was there for food, as in wow. Anyway, it was a great weekend, but I don't know, for some reason I wasn't able to document my weekend, like all these random events I found myself in and all these people I bumped into. I didn't have the time to record or anything. Like it didn't, for some reason I forgot about my camera, I forgot about recording, as in I just decided, I was like, you know what, let me enjoy the moment, for once. Let me stay away from the phone and trying to capture the moments and everything. Because actually by there I also saw my son. Oh my god. My son, oh my goodness, man, that boy, he's my pride and joy. As in, my son has become so smart. Like, this boy is so independent. He doesn't like people doing things for him. Like, he prefers to actively participate in his own, like, in his own stuff. Like nowadays, he doesn't like when people feed him. He wants to feed himself. He doesn't like when people try to he knows how to put on his own shoes. Like, he puts shoes like an adult. The way you take one shoe, one leg at a time. That's exactly what my son does. First, he starts with his socks. He puts them on one leg at a time, and then he takes his shoes and puts them on one leg at a time. As in, wow, I was so marveled. Wow, my son is, hey, oh my goodness, he has taken up after me. In fact, I was joking with myself the other day. I was like, man, my son is like, if he was a female, he would be me. He's the male version of me, pretty much. And I think I'm probably the female version of him. I don't know. But wow, as in, hey, my son is just, he's so amazing and he's so smart. Like, and then nowadays also he can talk. Although he doesn't talk, his speech is not yet that well developed. So, but at least nowadays he can pronounce some words and you can hear what he's saying, you know, like he knows how to say certain things. And yeah, he's just wow. I was just looking at him, I'm like, wow, you mean I am the one who produced all this? And he's only 2 years old, guy. As in, that's just, those are the things that motivate me every single day. Like when I think about my son, man, that just gives me the motivation and the courage, you know, to keep pushing past the challenges. Because I mean, the challenges are there, they have always been there, and they are continuing to be there. But as in, just the thought of, like, you know, the thought of his future. Because I look at him now and I'm like, man, he's only 2, but the things that he's already able to do, you know, like I see the light in him, and that's what just keeps giving me the courage that it does not matter, you know, how many times my blessings have been exchanged. Which is, I mean, I was listening to this song by Naomi, you know, it's called Kwa Laban. You know, if you know the Bible, the story of Laban, when Jacob wanted to marry Rachel, instead of after working for 7 years, you know, to get the wife that he was promised by Laban exchanged the blessing, and instead of giving him the wife that he wanted, Rachel, he gave him the sister Leah. And then so Jacob had to work for another 7 years to be able to get his wife Rachel, you know. So as in, it doesn't matter how many times, you know, somebody exchanges my blessings. It doesn't matter how many times, or it doesn't even matter who stands in the way and tries to make themselves bigger than the Almighty God. To me, I only know one God, and that is the creator of all man. You know, I only know the Almighty God. Sitambui Mungu mwingine. So that just gives me the courage and the motivation to keep pushing and keep pushing, you know, which is why actually I've been having issues with Wi-Fi. Like, you know, I was telling you guys earlier, as in Wi-Fi has just, my phone is not picking up on Wi-Fi at all, you know. So as in, internet connection has just been, it has been awful for me. Like I've had incidences where I've needed to use the internet, but I have not been able to access it. So for a minute, actually, it really stressed me out, which is why I even decided to do this video today, because I was like, you know what, that got me thinking, you know, as in, we have become so dependent on the things of this world in such a way that if someone is to take them away from us, how do we cope with life, you know? Because life has changed. Things are getting tougher by the day. And, you know, people are getting addicted to something to keep them going. You know, there are people who are addicted to alcohol. They need alcohol for them to function. There are people who are addicted to drugs. You know, they either need weed, LSD, whatever it is that, you know, people take. People have become dependent on something, while others have become dependent on the phone. Like for me, I didn't even realize I had become so dependent on my phone to a point where I was not really having I was not really communicating with people, you know, because most of the time, if you ever come across me in the community and stuff, because I do walk a lot, like I told you guys earlier, but most of the time I have my headsets on, you know. I always have my headsets on, and I don't really get to socialize with people. Even when I'm at the gym, most of the time I put my earplugs on and I focus on my phone. So I'm ever listening to music, you know. I'm ever just, you know, as in, I'm ever watching like other things on my phone. So I don't really get to interact with people. And so when all this happened, baby, at first I was freaking out. I was like, oh my God. Seriously, you know, like seriously, somebody has just decided Njeri does not deserve Wi-Fi, even though I am paying for it. Man, I was feeling like I was going to explode. But then actually that's what got me thinking, because I was like, man, you know, if today, for instance, whatever it is that you're used to is taken away from you, what are you going to do? How are you going to survive? You know, and I actually came to realize, through it all, I've realized we have become so disconnected as a society because all of us are dependent on something, you know. We are dependent on either our gadgets, or we are dependent on whatever it is that, you know, whatever antidote that you choose, to be able to cope with the stresses of life, because every day the stresses are increasing. If you're not dealing with family issues, you're dealing with, the economy itself is not good. You're dealing with, job issues, as in people are dealing with all kinds of issues. So we all need something to cope. But then now that's what got me thinking, and I'm like, man, we have become so dependent on the things, on material things of this world, to a point where we are disconnected as a society. Because in all those places that I went to this past weekend, I had the feeling of, there's that feeling of unity that's lacking. I mean, people are gathering together, yes, but there's no joy, there's no happiness, there's a disconnect. There's a disconnect somewhere where, like, even when you're in a crowd, honestly, you feel like you're by yourself. You're not really able to, as in there's that sense of unity that we've lost as humanity. And that got me also thinking about artificial intelligence. Nowadays it's like, man, people have become disconnected from each other. We are connected, yes, physically, but spiritually, mentally, we are so disconnected that I don't know. I don't even know how the future really is going to be. Because by being so disconnected, we are giving artificial intelligence the power to think for us. We are giving artificial intelligence the power to do things for us. So it's only a matter of time before it becomes so, smarter than us, to a point that it does not need us to function in our own world, And I don't know, as in, it's just been, this past couple of days has really got me thinking about a lot. Because I was thinking, I'm like, man, where did the love go? Where did the unity that we used to have go? Where did humanity go? Because even integrity has also become another issue. People are not, as in, okay, I'm not trying to be like a negative Nancy and just be on the negative and be like, oh, everything is bad, No, some things are good. But we seriously need to come back to our senses and realize where we lost ourselves as humans. Because nowadays, being in a social gathering or being amongst a group of people does not feel the same. We don't have that fellowship that used to be there. We used to be able to connect with each other and actually be able to carry on forth and push, and push to build a better community, better society, which is where we even gained an overconsumption type of mentality, where people just wanted to consume more. We are always looking for the next biggest thing, the next what is the next creation, like what is the next big thing that is going to come and shock us, but we don't realize how our over-consuming habits as human beings is affecting nature. And when nature is affected to a point where 70 or 80% of nature is consumed with toxicity, there's a social disconnect, amongst us, amongst humans. So, man, I don't know. With the loss of Wi-Fi, I've actually been thinking about all these things, things that I've never really looked into, because personally, I had to look at myself and I realized, wow, I have also been, I have kind of lost focus, and I have also lost my ability to communicate with people, because most of the time I mostly, when I have the chance to socialize or be around people, I don't talk to people. I always have my earplugs on, I'm on my phone, I don't really get to interact with people. So human beings, we are interacting with artificial intelligence more than we're interacting with each other, and that's a threat to humanity, if you ask me. There's that saying that says, God made man, man made money, and money made man mad. Now today, it's like God made man, man made Al, and Al is about to make man obsolete. Oh my God. You know, as in the biggest battle that we fight, honestly, I've come to understand it's up here. It's all in the mind. Like, we need to go back to the days where we were able to have communications with each other. We were able to interact with each other. We were able to work with one another, you know, and keep the world going. Instead of now just, you know, depending on, you know, I mean, people have been pushed to a corner, you know, whether you're dealing with sickness, you're dealing with divorce, you're dealing with homelessness, you're dealing with joblessness, you're dealing with childlessness, you know, whatever issue you're dealing with, as in, people have resulted into their own way of coping with things, and through that we have become disconnected. We have become disconnected, whereby we are able to be around each other, but we cannot relate with each other. You know, there's just that disconnect that is it's an invisible disconnect. You know, it's like we are living in some type of bubble that, not unless we go back to our roots, you know. And by going back to your roots is getting disconnected from that which is keeping you, you know, in that bubble. We are really, really losing our future. Because to me, actually being around my son this past weekend, I was really thinking about, you know, like, for me nowadays, yes, I live my life for me. You know, I pursue my own dreams, I pursue my own goals, and I do want to see myself becoming successful. But I cannot become successful if I don't create a path for my child to also become successful, because that is the way you maintain wealth. You know, if I just focus on me, whatever I am able to achieve is going to become liquid wealth, and it's not going to be it's not going to benefit my child in any way. So everything that I do today, I do it also for the sake of my son, you know, because I want to secure his future. I want to secure his tomorrow in such a way that, even though right now the situation the way it is has kept us apart from each other, when it is time for him to harvest, he is going to harvest positivity out of what I have planted. You know, I am going to have created a path for him that he can follow, that he can actually carry on a good legacy, or create one for himself that is going to change things around, you know, change the story. From this story of always, you know, from my story, because I don't want my son to have the same story as me. You know, I don't want him to grow up in a world where, you know, constantly everything he works for is just being swapped. You know, any blessing that he can harvest is being swapped and given to somebody else. No, because that can only happen where there is lack of self-awareness, which is what I actually came to realize about the story of Jacob and Laban. When Jacob was pursuing Rachel, he was not aware of himself, and that is why he had to suffer for those 7 years, because whatever he was pursuing was for himself. He was pursuing his own desires. And so the Laban took advantage of that, because he figured, this guy doesn't know who he is, so I can exchange his blessing with my own, so that he can continue remaining in bondage, continue remaining in mental slavery, until the day he will realize who he is, and realize Leah was not the wife that he deserved. And so Jacob had to work for another 7 years for him to awaken to himself, to his own identity, so he can get that which was meant for him. So, man, as in, we just have to awaken. We have to awaken and break free from the chains that are holding us back as a society. You know, we have to go back to where we lost our way. You know, where did humanity lose the hunger, the thirst, the passion, the drive to not only live but also succeed in the ways of the Creator? Where did we lose our way and start pursuing things that have only kept humanity in bondage. You know, it has the things that, yes, all these things come from God and they are meant for good, but the enemy has turned them around against us in a way that now they are working against our own joy. They are working against our own happiness. Because, I mean, truth be told, people have given up a lot. You know, there are people who have even sacrificed their souls, you know, for them to have what they have, you know, to have a good home, to have a good car, you know, to have a business. There are people who have sacrificed a lot to the kingdom of darkness for them to maintain that. But that has ended up becoming their prison. That which they thought was going to give them happiness has actually turned out to become the one thing that has imprisoned them. Because now you cannot imagine your life without that. And then when you look at all that you've had to sacrifice to get it, it's easier for you to continue doing what you have to do to maintain it than let it go and start again. And that is where we really have lost our way, you know. And if we don't wake up and start setting ourselves free, I mean, yes, it's good to enjoy. It's good to enjoy the things that God created for us to enjoy. But we cannot be able to enjoy them, for one, if we are disconnected from each other. We cannot be able to enjoy them if the things that we desire end up becoming, you know, end up consuming us to a point where now we are no longer living and enjoying life for ourselves. God damn. As in this track, it just had to come and like stand right. Shindwe. But anyway, yeah, once we start being consumed by the things that are actually meant, you know, we are the ones who are supposed to control them and enjoy them. But now, they are now the ones controlling our psyche, you know. We have to go back. We have to go back and we have to awaken, you know, to our inner selves and and start facing our own challenges, you know. This whole idea of also running away from, you know, from the stress that comes with everything and getting hooked onto something has also become disastrous towards the growth of the economy. Because, for instance, if somebody's, let's say you're hooked on marijuana, and anytime you feel stressed or frustrated, you have, you know you can easily run to a dispensary and buy the marijuana and you'll be good. But what if somebody was to wake up today and decide all dispensaries are going to be shut down? What are you going to do? Yes, you might know a dealer or two out on the streets, but what if they also decide they are not going to answer their phone? Or what if the same person who decides no more dispensaries decides no more phone? There's no more phone connection. What are you going to do? You're going to be forced to face yourself. And I think that's where now we are at. For us to become free from these forces that have now taken over our conscious, we need to start facing things for what they really are and go back to the days of communicating. Go back to the days of socializing with each other without the need of extra things. You know, we need to go back to we need to take back humanity to what it was meant to be. And that is the only way we are going to become truly free. The other day we were celebrating Juneteenth. Juneteenth is a holiday where the black slaves were notified, or they were informed that they had become free from their slave masters. But today, yes, we are physically free because we are not being forced, you know, to work in cotton farms and all of that. But we have been taken into captivity up here. And not unless you free your mind, your body can never become free from whatever is keeping you held or bound. It all has to start up here. Sawa sawa. Anyway, guys, oh my god, today is such a gorgeous day. And yeah, I'm about to head on somewhere. I need to go and finish some work first and then continue with the rest of the day. But I felt I needed to come on and share that with you. And hopefully I've been able to be a blessing to someone. And hey, we need to go back. We need to go back to the days where we were able to communicate with one another, because that is what was making humanity what it is. That was the pride of humanity. And that was what was differentiating us or keeping us free from those who had kept us in bondage for years and years on end. Sawa sawa? Oh my gosh. My chair is moving on its own. Allah. Anyway, guys, have a great rest of your day, and I'ma see you in the next one. Mwah, mwah, mwah.